Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to Don't Spoil the Ending. This is a podcast about films, TV shows, games,
Yep.
general entertainment. Not even just general entertainment, general everything. We'll talk about whatever, won't we?
Yeah, a bit of everything in there.
Yeah. I'm Nick.
Hi, I'm John.
And I'm Sam.
Fantastic. Love saying that. Right, so we're going to... Right, have you all been, actually? Let's just start with that.
Yeah, not too bad.
How's your week's been?
Well, I've got a quick thing to mention, if that's okay. I don't know how interesting it'll be, but talking to Ben in work, we've mentioned Ben a few times.
Once or twice.
Yeah, he revealed, I think it was last week, that he's taken the decision to take his DVD collection and put all the DVDs in binders and bin all of the DVD cases. Do you know about this?
No.
You're fuming about that,
I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't take it well, to be honest.
I can imagine.
I just wanted to get your guys' opinions on. I know you're not like as big collectors as I am with DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff, but I just think if you're going to do this, what's the point in even buying them in the first? Just burn them to DVD if you're going to put them in a binder. You're only paying for the box, aren't you? Really?
Yeah. I'm not into that. I think I'd need the boxes. Like, I've got like Lord of the Rings and stuff. I've only got like a few select Blu-rays / DVDs, but I wouldn't want them if they were in the box whatsoever.
Yeah, so if I took your Lord of the Rings collection here, Nick, and offered to put the Blu-rays in a binder, along with your other, you've got a touch of cloth down there, haven't you?
Yeah.
Put all those in a binder and bin the boxes. Effectively, they've got no resale value straight away. That goes. You can't do anything with them then. But
Can you not trade them in as disc only, or?
I don't think so. I mean, if you could, it'd be like a penny a disc or something. Probably. You're paying for the box. That's all you're paying for.
I mean, the resale value doesn't mean much to me because, like, I've still got like PlayStation 2 games from years and years ago. I don't ever resell games or DVDs, so that doesn't bother me. But I still want them in the box. To be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Just from a collecting standpoint, you don't want binders full of DVDs, do you?
I think he did the same with CDs. I don't know if he's still got the CD cases, but I know he's got a huge binder of CDs in his car.
I feel like that's better though because he's in a car.
But what's the difference? No, well, that's the difference. That's what I was like. That the CDs are you could travel with them.
They're portable. Yeah, they're more portable than you're never going to watch a film in your car, are you?
Would it not be good to have DVDs in a binder? Say you're going on holiday or going away for the weekend or something like that.
I mean,
don't know, and you want to take. You don't know what to take. You don't want to take loads of boxes. It's going to take loads of room up in your bag. I
feel like though I'd take them out of the boxes for the holiday. I wouldn't constantly have them there. I'd
have a small binder.
I'd have a small binder, and I'm like, right, I'm going to put all my DVDs in here, and then I'll bring me portable DVD player or whatever.
And I feel like, guys, we're in 2018 now. This is what digital copies of movies are for. Going on holiday, you get your tablet.
That costs extra, though.
Well, it's worth paying every now and then for digital copy. But yeah, I just want to see what you thought about that. I mean, I'm going to make Ben listen to this, see what correct his ways kind of thing. Yeah. So
I mean, he might have already done it by then, but
yeah.
Hopefully we can get it. We can get it to him in time.
Yeah, before the DVD boxes are destroyed. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
What about you, Sam? Any updates for the week?
Well, I've
6 weeks.
I was going to say I've not been on the podcast for. Well, we were just working out then since Halloween. I think
Halloween it was, yeah.
Episode 30.
Have you got any updates for the past 2 months?
Not really, no.
No
just I've been playing a lot more computer games and stuff like that, more than I definitely used to. Sort of a few games on Steam. We'll get into that a bit later. Been doing that. Just binging Netflix. Had a good Christmas.
Yeah, of course.
All that stuff.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year. And, we know. I'm pretty sure you spoke about it in previous episodes. Like you're a cryptomaniac.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Well, that was. I think since being on the show in Halloween, it rocketed from then through December up to 20th of December, I think it was. Bitcoin was then worth 19,000.
Which is why you've not been on the show, because you've been going into nightclubs in your big fur coats.
Yep, that's it. That's exactly it. No, we did the show War Dogs where we talked about cryptos then.
We did, yeah.
If you listen to our advice / non-advice, because we don't want to give financial advice for safety reasons, risk reasons.
Yeah.
It was worth $1,800 at that time that we talked about it then. It's gone up 10 times the amount in, 6 months?
So,
7 months.
Regardless of how many you bought, even at that point, you'd be sitting on a pretty number right now.
A 10 times increase in any amount of money is pretty nice.
Yes, definitely. Awesome. Don't need to go into cryptocurrency that much, do we?
Well, I mean, I'm just still gutted because Inman did recommend getting on the bandwagon on that podcast, and I didn't do it. And it's gone up by 10.
There's other cryptocurrencies. I don't know if I want to name check them and stuff because, like you said, I don't want to give out the financial help to people.
Yeah.
But like, there's other ones out there which are currently like they're looking like they're going to blow up at some point in the near future. Yeah. So it's still like an open market. You can still potentially make a lot of money if you wanted to.
I think we could do a whole episode on cryptos, and maybe that would be something we can do.
Definitely, yeah. A special 1 week, yep.
Yeah, we'll have to put like a warning at the start of it.
Definitely.
You may lose all your money.
We do not hold any responsibility for any financial losses you make.
Fantastic. I've not done much myself for the past week. Normal day-to-day things. But have we got any games anyone wants to talk about?
Well, I've got a couple that I was playing, so I'll start off with Football Manager, get that out of the way.
Yeah.
So that came out around the same time as the last time I was on the podcast.
Yeah,
actually, I think I spoke about looking forward to that being released, and it was going really well. And then a couple of buggy bits came out, and this is in the full game because it came out as a 2-week beta first. But in the full game, I still was finding a couple of bugs and stuff like that, and then they do hot patches and stuff like that. But one of the main things was like you'd get most of the way through the game or halfway through the game, and it would crash. Your game would stop, and you'd have to quit. Oh, no. So if you hadn't saved, you're going back to your previous save point.
Yeah,
which is just crap. So basically, they still, as far as I'm aware, they still haven't fixed this issue.
Right. Okay.
I've not been on the game for a couple of weeks, maybe a little bit longer than that. So they could have fixed it by now, but I've not even played to find out. But I've probably not played the game because of this issue, which is not good. So,
it should put you off even facing it, kind of thing.
So it was all reported on the forums. Loads of other people having these problems, and hopefully that gets fixed soon. But I did manage to finish the first season, which I won the league with Liverpool, so I'm very happy about that.
Still an unrealistic game then?
Possibly. I think it just shows how good I am as a manager.
Maybe, yeah. I do fancy giving that a go myself. It's just such a big time issue with that game, isn't it? You've got to, you have to devote time to it. You want to, don't you? When you start playing it, you just it eats up your social life, kind of thing.
Sucks you in and then doesn't spit you out.
Yeah, so it's one of them that I want a clear slate of a few weeks where I can just get the game and just play it. But like you mentioned, when there's issues with it at the moment, it's best off.
Because they did release quite a big update, and that still didn't. It fixed a lot of the minor issues, but it didn't fix this particular
that big game breaking
crash. Yeah. But no, hopefully there's going to be a fix soon, or sort of because they do, I think at the end of January they do a big update then with all because they release their second database of players when all the transfer windows been done and stuff like that.
After the January transfer window,
there's an update then of the whole game as well. So
yeah,
hopefully it'll be fixed by then.
Cool.
The second game was Cities, and this has exploded for the people around us in work.
Well, we spoke about this for the past couple of weeks on the podcast, haven't we? And Joe recommended it to me, I think on the 2017 one. Since then I bought it, and I think everyone, like you say, in work has bought it as well. Yeah,
it's like I got on off Joe's recommendation again, and I've not stopped playing it since, just racking up the hours and sort of building building
cities.
cities, yeah, pretty much. It's an absolutely great game. Like the level of like the depth to it.
Yeah.
You have to think about everything.
Oh,
set
definitely,
the taxes and set your policies and stuff like that. And like you just kind of think, but because they only limit the amount of stuff you can have at the start of the game, you have to. You start out with like a really shit city, and then you want to and then you build and expand it, and you go, well, that opening point, all my traffic's getting stuck there. And I'm like, come on, I need to fix it. Then you can't upgrade stuff because you built something next to that road, and you're like, well, I'm gonna have to move that now. I absolutely love that game. I've been absolutely great for the past week or so.
Yeah, it's been. I've pretty much since you played it, I've been playing it a lot. Like I've mentioned it last week, so I won't go into details. But like, I fucked up a few times, and I managed to learn the error of my ways next time around, and that. But great game, man.
I managed to flood a part of my city because you can build like a hydro dam, so you put that in. But I placed it really wrong, so it was it was too low in the water, so it wasn't producing any electricity. And I had to delete it. But when you delete it, it just wipes it out. It's not like when you build stuff, it builds it up. But then when you delete it, it just sort of like gets rid of it completely. So basically, it left this gap in the water, which then all like.
Right.
It then filled the space, bounced off each other, and caused this tidal wave from a river that's like spread across the city. I was like, "Oh shit, no!" You actually like it travelled across the highway. Cars were being washed away. I was like, "Oh fucking hell!"
Like you made like a tsunami, like within your.
Yeah, couldn't believe it.
That's amazing.
That is actually amazing. Like that.
But then it like because of the train, it all like flows back into the river and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it sorts itself out, and then I had to landscape. The river walls. I had to put like walls in basically, so
like a bank or something.
Yeah,
river
bank, yeah. And then placed it better, so it was above the water line.
Right.
And I don't have the water level rose, so anyone that was at the side, and I built right up to the water's edge.
Yeah.
So they got flooded, so I just had to go delete all along the river bank. So. Yeah, a lot of people homeless though.
That's good.
Right, you, John, any games?
No, nothing, mate. This week, nothing.
Yeah, I've literally just been playing Skylines myself. I've not really played much else, apart from Skyrim. But like I said, I spoke about that last week, so I won't go into that again.
Okay.
So should we move on to TV shows?
Yep. Cool.
Um,
I think I'm the only one with a TV show this week.
Yeah, I've got nothing again.
I've got a Netflix one.
Oh, have you? Do you want to go first?
I can do. Well, it's just a quick one, really. Friends has been added to Netflix.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So that's been off terrestrial TV free view, because it was on E4 for ages.
Yeah.
But it's not been on there for a while. So like I used to always watch that when it was on E4, sort of quite like Friends, and being added to Netflix. So I've been watching like the first season of that, about halfway through the first season, but really enjoy get back into that. And then like because it's quite an old TV show now, you look at some of the fashion on there and some of the stuff like that. It's really interesting to see. Saw an article as well, sort of like millennials are watching it for like the first time.
Yeah,
because it's on Netflix and stuff like that. So they go back and watch it, and like they're kind of taken aback a bit. Like it's not. They're saying some parts of it could be deemed as like homophobic or things like that.
Offensive
because it's like a different. It's a different time where maybe like you would be able to
get away with
that on TV, whereas that would be more restricted down now, and censored or whatever like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's not outrage. It's not outrage or anything like that, but it's kind of like. These kids being like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
Cool. No, I've quite enjoyed getting back onto Friends. But that's it for me.
I'll just jump on that though. I loved Friends when it first aired, but about halfway through the run of the series, I don't know why, I kind of lost interest. And it's around about the point where like everyone in that group was sleeping with everyone else. Like by the end of it, they've got like Monica and Chandler got together.
Yeah.
But did Monica and Joey have a thing at one point?
I think Rachel and Joey had, and then Rachel was with Ross. But then I'm sure Phoebe Phoebe had kissed Joey.
Yeah,
and Chandler.
I'm sure there's a Ross thing as well. But it might be a dream sequence that or something. But I'm sure there was a Phoebe and Ross thing as well at one point on a pool table or something.
Something like that. Yeah, there was a Joey and Ross part as well.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. So it just got a bit like weirdly incestuous. I think by the end of it, like they've all just been with each other. I mean, if Ross and Monica got together, that's where you draw the line. No, this is too much. Like,
I think the millennials would really kick off.
Yeah, but on the whole, it's a funny show, though, isn't it?
No, I like it.
Yep.
Cool. I've only well, I want to talk about two briefly, really. But on Netflix again, I've been watching Luther because of the news of the next season coming out. Next season coming out. So I've started watching that. I've got through the first season, and it's mind blowing, that show. I loved it the first time, and I love it now. Like some of the serial kills on that are just mental. Like, I'm gobsmacked. Even though I've seen it before, I was just gobsmacked again. I was like,
yeah,
it's shocking. You know what I mean? And the other one is it's been rated like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, and everyone's been raving about it. So I was like, oh, go on, I'll give it a go. It's on Netflix as well. It's called The End of the Fucking World. I initially thought it was like a post-apocalyptic kind of show, which I was very, very wrong about. It's just like a psychopathic kid, and she's not really been diagnosed with anything, but she's pretty nuts as well.
Just a strange one.
And they kind of their worlds collide, and they start going about the days, but this. I know you kind of want to watch it one day, so I don't really want to spoil much. But
did you say it was on Netflix?
It's on Netflix. Yeah.
I didn't know it was on Netflix.
Yeah.
I thought it was on because it was on 4OD.
Yeah,
for ages, and then but I never think to go on 4OD.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh, I'll just put Netflix on. I never think to go on 4OD, so I've just totally missed it. But if it's on Netflix, I'll definitely have to get on that.
Like,
sorry, I'll jump in there. I was saying to Nick in work that I was shocked it was on Netflix because on the Channel 4 OD adverts, it says exclusive to 4OD. And I was like, oh, right. Like, but then you mentioned it was on Netflix. I was like, well,
I didn't
exclusive to 4OD.
I didn't even know that.
I don't think I'd have watched it if it was on 4OD because the adverts just really bug me. That's why I love Netflix so much. So I've started watching that yesterday, and I finished it yesterday as well. I was hooked straight away. It's only 8 episodes, but it's so good. Like I say, he's psychopath. I kind of want to talk a bit more about it. Are you all right for just...
Yeah.
Might be a bit spoilerific. But,
no, that's fine.
Basically, he's a psychopath, and she kind of, like I said, the worlds collide. And he's been killing animals like his entire life, and he kind of wanted to kill something a bit bigger. When she kind of spoke to him, he's like, "There's my person," and he's basically planning it out and all that. And he pretends to. I did that in inverted commas. He pretends to fall in love with her, and they run away together. And he does eventually kill someone and find out he's not a psychopath. And it starts unraveling, and it's really dead interesting. But like I say, apart from the killing in one episode, not much actually happens. You're just watching these two kids be fucking fucked up kids, and it's dead interesting. Like, that's why I was hooked. And they're all a 20-minute episode as well.
Is that it? I thought it was like a kind of drama, kind of 40-minute hour.
No,
kind of
8 20-minute episods, so you can literally box it off in a night.
Yeah.
Dead easy.
When you said you watched like 8 episodes and it was yesterday, I was like, I'm sure you were in work yesterday. I was like, you watched 8 hours. You must have been up with God knows when.
No, I watched our film of the week, which we've not mentioned yet. It's Panic Room, by the way. I watched the film last night, and then I watched all 8 episodes.
20-minute episodes makes it even more appealing. So,
exactly. Yeah. Honestly, give it a watch. I feel like I've just spoilt it for you now, though. But it's still mind blowing.
Worth watching. Yeah,
it's worth a watch. Definitely worth a watch.
Sorry, I'll just jump in there if I can on the TV thing. I've been meaning to talk to you for ages about Ozark. I don't think we ever did in the end. Can you just have a quick recap of the ending, if that's okay?
Yeah.
I won't spoil anything because I don't know if you're planning to watch it, Nick.
I've just spoiled don't the end of the fucking world for Sam. So
Oh, no,
by all
as well.
means, spoil the ending for me.
I'm not going to spoil it in detail, but this is in Ozark. I really enjoyed the whole show, but I don't think I've mentioned this to you before. That my issue with it at the end was, it felt like the show was set up to have a really dark ending. I thought,
Right.
with the way everything was pointing, and I feel like they almost bottled out of the dark ending just for series 2.
Well,
do you know what I mean by that?
I think they definitely set it up like, or changed the ending maybe, so it was like, right, we know there's going to be a season 2.
Yeah,
We'll plan for that.
We'll do that. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, the end of it, I was like, it kind of, there was a part where it blew my mind.
Yeah, there was one bit I loved, but then when you realise the implications of what that means for, like, you're like, oh, yeah, series 2's going to happen now.
Yeah.
And this guy's not going to be around, which I really like, kind of thing. So
I was happy with where it was going, and I was like, this is what I want. I know. I was kind of thinking, I wonder what they're going to do in season 2.
Yeah,
because this all seems very jolly, kind of like
it's all neatly tied up.
It's all going a bit too well. This,
yeah,
and then the hammer was dropped,
and then straight away it doesn't. Kind of, yeah. So yeah, I'll be honest, I forgot about that bit, but I just feel like the stakes aren't really there now for series 2 with what's happened.
No,
things can't really get all that bad for Jason Bateman. I mean, they can still get bad for him, but
it feels like he's only got that one threat now. Where he
that's
had
what I mean. Like before,
2...
everything was closing in on him.
Yeah.
Now there's just that one thing that you feel like he can deal with because he's Jason Bateman. Yeah.
He's almost like teamed up now.
Yeah,
where I felt like it wasn't like that before.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's got protection and sort of like it used to kind of just be his family versus the world.
Yeah. And just the way the whole thing was set up, I just thought it was going to be a perfect one series TV show where they just finish it in one series.
Just don't do that.
No.
But Walking Dead, perfect one series TV show.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Look where that went.
There's been like 8 series of The Walking Dead. It's been the same every year, hasn't it? Just 8 series of the same TV show.
Just getting worse and worse.
I don't know if it's like official or anything, but like I've seen news about that show recently. Like, if you're right, we're just talking about that for a second. Norman Reedus has come out saying that like several characters are leaving the show, and like he's nervous about like the show, thinking it's just going to basically end soon. So it might be getting the end it deserves. Like finally,
everyone being killed off.
Finally being killed off. Yeah.
I mean, I think I've said it. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast, but I've always said like I want Negan to kill everyone, and just that'll be the end of it. Him just being stood on top of a pile of bodies or something. Like, yeah.
I'd almost just to be happy if they all got eaten by zombies and just be like, right, that's it. Like, that's it.
Yeah, that's how it ends. Yeah.
Like, but the most obvious but unsatisfying ending to a zombie horror, they're all eaten by zombies. But I'm just like, fine, fuck it.
Yeah. Finally, it's finished. But so just in terms of endings, I mentioned the Ozark thing. I just feel like if they'd gone for that dark ending that it almost was like aiming towards, that would have been satisfying, because you think, yeah, it's an unhappy ending, but that's the only way that could have ended, kind of thing. Yeah. And I'm going to get onto it later on. I'm going to talk about Creep 2 that I watched. And that film, it feels like they're just showing you like this clearly got one way it's going to go at the end, and they bottle out, they do something different, and you think that would have been a really amazing, unhappy, dark ending, but they don't do it. But I'll get to that later.
What is it? The Mist, which like has the ending where you go,
exactly,
that's the ending that you want.
Without that ending, that film wouldn't be worth talking about. You know what I mean? That's what it makes that whole film, kind of thing. So, yep.
Cool. Are we done on TV shows?
Yep.
Done. Okay. Movies. Talk about. I mean, I don't know if I've watched anything, but I know you have, haven't you, John?
Yeah, I've got a couple, if that's okay. I'll just burn through them. You mentioned last week, Nick, you watched Iron Man, doing like a Marvel rewatch before Infinity War comes out. So I've given that a watch this week as well. The only thing I've got to mention, I've told you about this in work, but the best scene in that film for me is also the worst scene. It's when Jeff Bridges comes back from New York with pizza, because the pizza just looks so good. I don't remember this in at all. Big, massive pizza boxes. And Tony starts eating the pizza, and you're like, that pizza looks amazing here. But then he starts to fold it up. I don't know if you've noticed this. He folds the pizza into one and eats it, and you're like, I hate people folding pizza.
It's the Italian way, though.
No.
No. Apparently, that's the traditional.
The Italians are wrong on this.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate that. Never fold a pizza.
Apparently, that's the way because because Italian pizza is typically really like oily. So when you fold it, the oil just drips off like away from you. But like, just you're not getting all of your hands. It's a cleaner way to eat pizza.
I feel like don't put oil on it in the first place.
Well, no, but your toppings and everything like that. It's just a cleaner way to.
You see, I feel like if I did that with the pizza I had, if I folded it, all the meat feast toppings would just all fall into the middle, and I'd be like, I'm just eating like a sausage roll now or something. You know what I mean? It's not a pizza anymore. It's like some weird.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
calzone.
I have tried eating it that way. I don't mind it.
No,
give it a go.
No, I can't do it. I can't do it. After talking about this, it turned out that Lauren in work eats pizza that way. Fuming about that. Saw Joe eating a pizza on lunch today. He eats pizza that way. It's like, no, just don't fold your pizza. Get a calzone if you want folded pizza. Don't be folding it. So yeah, that was the worst bit of Iron Man.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So what else am I talking about? Creep 2. I watched Creep 2 this week. I know you've watched Creep 1, Nick. Have you seen the first one, Inman? No. You're not a big horror film fan, are you? The whole premise of Creep 1 is that you're basically watching a guy who's just a creep kind of thing, but you don't know whether he's just a creepy stalker or whether he is like a full-blown murderer kind of thing.
Right.
And the whole film is like on that premise into which way is it going to go? Is it going to turn out he's just a weirdo, or is he actually going to kill this guy at the end? And you find out at the end of the film. But then part 2, because you already know what's happened in part 1, there's no mystery there in terms of, they can't do that trick again because you know exactly what the deal is. So they do this whole weird thing of like matching the guy up with somebody who's potentially just as creepy as him. Like this girl's a videographer who he hires to make a documentary. And I was mentioning before, like the first half of the film's quite intriguing because she's seems just as weird as him, and she's pushing him, deliberately to try and wind him up and stuff like that. And the film, to me, clearly feels like it's pointing to go one way to this really weird ending that might have been like a really weird, unhappy ending, but it would have been satisfying. And it almost goes there, but then it just bottles out at the end. And that's this really bland kind of horror film finale, which just wasn't interesting at all. It felt like it really cheaped out kind of thing. But yeah, so again, the first one only really worked because it had that whole premise going on. This one just didn't have the same. I mean, it's not even barely even a horror film. There's no scares in it or anything like that. You're just watching them both in a house making a documentary, and he's trying to scare her, and she's just like, "Yeah, I'm just as weird as you. I'm not bothered."
I mean, I loved the first one. Well, I say loved it. Like, I definitely didn't love it. Like, I was just really terrified. But I remember like being so freaked out when I finished the film. I was scared to go to bed because I thought I was going to get murdered or something. And I don't generally get affected like that by films. So like when it does that to me, I'm like that's got a special place for me, that kind of film then. And it's got I don't know if you've seen The League.
Yeah.
Have you watched it? Yeah, it's one of the main guys from that. It's in the Creep guy.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning. It's Mark Duplass, who's like a Canadian actor. He's done loads of they call them mumblecore movies. Have you heard of that in at all? No. Small Canadian movies where it's just talking basically. Oh, right. And he's done loads of stuff like that. I think he's got a brother as well who's an actor, and they do a lot of films together. And he's in Creep 2 as well.
Oh, is he?
And he's actually really good in it, to be honest. He does sell the part quite well. But it's just without that hook from the first film of, is he just a creep or is he actually a dangerous killer? Once that's gone, it just doesn't have the same kind of hook, in part 2.
I mean, I might watch this part 2 now because the whole reason I haven't so far, I've seen it. I think it's on Netflix, isn't it?
They're both on Netflix.
Like the whole reason they haven't is because of how freaked out I was from the first one. I was like, I don't know if I can bring myself to do that again. Yeah. But now that I know it's not even that bad,
yeah, it's not as creepy.
I might just watch it just because I've watched the first one.
It's more weird and funny part 2 than scary. Right, okay. Yeah. But just one final point. It's directed by a guy called Patrick Bryce, who played Aaron in the first film, who's the guy being stalked. Oh, right. He's actually the director of both films. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Didn't realise that. Yeah, but I'd give Creep 1 3 out of 5, Creep 2 2.5 out of 5.
I mean, you've not lowered it that much.
No, it's like I say, it's only just a bit worse than it, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's me done.
Have you watched any films, Simon?
I've got 3 that I can quickly mention. Most recently, I watched The Founder, which is the McDonald's
Yep.
film. Thought that was really good. I had no clue of how McDonald's was founded or set up or anything like that. So it's kind of really interesting. Have you both seen?
I've not seen it, but I've heard a lot about it.
Not seen it. Do you want me to start?
You're welcome to spoil it.
So basically, like the first McDonald's is set up, I think it's back at like 50s, or late 40s, 50s, by the McDonald brothers. So they set up the first McDonald's, and they come up with the idea of how the speedy service, in the kitchen and stuff like that, and they showed how they sort of like planned it out. Obviously, probably based on true events. Don't know whether this is all strictly true. So they got that sorted, and apparently it was just a massive flop to begin with. Like the whole premise of people going to the window to order the burger and stuff like that, because they had drive-ins at the time where you park up, someone would come out, but then invariably you'd get the wrong order or something like that, or you'd just be having to wait for ages.
Yeah.
So it took ages for this idea to catch on, really. But they said, like, they persisted with it, and then one day it just kind of like, it just seemed to click with everyone just kind of got used to it. This one restaurant did really well. They tried to expand it and failed until a salesman comes along, and then he sort of like, the film is then around him and how he expands McDonald's. And the McDonald brothers are just super nice. They don't want to commercialize it at all. So I'm going to call him the founder, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, yeah,
that's it. He comes along and he's trying to say, well, instead of you drinks you sell at the moment, we'll do Coca-Cola. They want to sell it. You'll get more money from it. Do all that, and oh no, we don't want to commercialize it or anything like that. We don't want Coca-Cola. Don't want anything else like that. Want to keep everything organic. They don't want powdered milkshakes or anything like that. So basically, Michael Keaton just gets so fed up with sort of like having to go through the McDonald brothers that he kind of like comes up with this plan to sort of wipe them out of the business, basically. So the McDonald brothers just get screwed over, like royally screwed over by the end of it. They come up with like a gentleman's agreement that they're going to get paid, but that can't be part of like the contract. And apparently they was never paid through the gentleman's agreement. And obviously Michael Keaton's character gets rich and famous.
Yeah, and McDonald's now is on every street corner, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah. Really good film. Like the way it goes at a steady pace and everything like that. It's well shot and stuff like that. It's a good storytelling movie.
I can't think now who directed it. I'm sure it's somebody who know who did it, but I can't think who it was.
No, I enjoyed that. I've been meaning to watch it for a while and sort of.
It's on Amazon, isn't it? The Founder.
Yes.
So I might check that out myself. Yeah.
Star rating 3.5, pushing 4.
Okay.
It was decent. I'd probably watch it again. It was a easy watch. It wasn't sort of like, you know what's going on all the time. Yeah. It's nothing complicated. Second film, Patriots Day.
Yep. I've seen this. Yep.
I've put on the WhatsApp group. I've kind of had a couple of issues with this.
Okay, yeah. Just to mention, I think I've spoken about this before. This is my boy Pete Berg who directed this. Big fan of his films. Mm-hmm. He did Battleship, masterpiece. He did Deepwater Horizon. I've seen that one.
That is actually an amazing game. Amazing film, Deepwater Horizon.
Right.
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg again, isn't it?
Mark Wahlberg again. It's kind of hit this like this theme of making like, what's the word? Like true life stories, making like these Americanized versions, like all American versions of these true life stories, like Lone Survivor. He did that. I really like Lone Survivor, Deepwater Horizon, and now this. I'm going to pick you up on the all American theme here. Yeah.
I felt like it started really well. Like it introduces the characters. You know what's going to happen to these characters. You know they're going to be affected in some way, and you're already feeling emotional for them and attached to these characters. And then the way the explosion happens and the way that that's shot, and they show you the kind of like, I don't know whether they take real footage and put it in, or it's all like filmed to look like the real.
I feel
footage.
like they do sometimes. I'm sure they like. So you're not meant to know whether you're watching the film or actual footage. Because
they
kind of keep you on your toes.
There's some like CCTV footage in there and stuff like that, or like that kind of phone camera quality kind of in there.
Yeah.
Which they played that really well. Like I was like, it's an emotional scene that is, because you just definitely. Like you are like, holy crap, like like it kind of like got to me that bit, and it kind of like you're really feeling for these characters. You see them, the effects of them, like they're being rushed to hospital, and it's not like just the effects on the people that were in the explosion, but you feel like this affected the whole of Boston, and everything like everything that goes along with it. And then it just kind of like you seem to get these characters pushed to one side, and the all American patriotism, like
definitely,
it seems to just overrun the film, and it takes away from that emotional aspect for me.
Yeah,
because you get a bit halfway through the film where Mark Wahlberg sort of he tries to give this like monologue speech, and you kind of like. You're just not quite doing it justice. Like, it's not coming across the way you'd got the first part of the film across really well, and this just isn't cutting it.
I know what you mean. Like, I think they're going for the same kind of thing they did with Deepwater Horizon, but that film lends itself to this kind of thing a lot more naturally. This is a lot more like disparate. There's loads of different elements that they're trying to all mash together to make this one film. So you've got the survivors over here, you've got Mark Wahlberg and Kevin Bacon and John Goodman over here, you've got the terrorists over here, and they're just trying to mash it all into one thread, and I don't think it always works, but it's not as good as Deepwater Horizon, but I still really like it.
Trying to, like you say, pushing all those threads together, not going to be easy to do in a film, and I've like one of the issues I kind of had with the film is like I felt like they spent way too long with the terrorists.
Do you think so?
I just felt like that it just wasn't needed, and it kind of like just like you're not. You just want to know what's happening with the terrorists and stuff like that, but they went too in depth with like the car ride.
Is that where like the shootout happens and stuff?
Where they go to
where they pick up the Asian guy.
Yeah, they steal the Asian guy's car, and they take it for a car ride and stuff like that. It just goes on way too long.
Oh, do you think? I mean, I found that quite on the. I was on the edge of my seat for that bit, and the bit where they shoot the policeman and stuff, and just outside that building. Because they go to fill horrifying. They
go to fill it with petrol, and it's a genuinely tense bit because you know that the Asian guy is trying to. He's looking at the door handle. He's looking at the driver is on the sat nav, and he's going, "Can I do this? Can I make it?" And I am tense for that bit, but it's the build up to that bit, and in the car ride and stuff like that, and it's just I don't know. I just didn't feel like that was necessary, and you could have concentrated on maybe more of what was going on in the other two threads. Stuff.
I loved that bit. I loved the whole shootout. Was it Watertown or something? It's called where. They finally catch them, like in the street, and they have that huge shootout and stuff.
Just on a street, one end,
residential street,
throwing like the grenades and bombs and stuff like that.
I loved all that. I thought that was again gripping on the edge of
I just didn't know whether that was just too over the top though. Like,
yeah, definitely. I mean,
I was like, and again, it goes back to like is it based on true events? Is this strictly true? Did they throw that many bombs? Is this like all definitely recorded? Because you got the police at one end, and a guy comes out his house, and he's going. I'll help you. I'll go get. And he goes gets a sledgehammer. He goes, "Hey, try this." And I'm like, if that really happened, you don't want that in the film because it makes that in the boat and stuff like that. I remember all that happening. It's like, I was just kind of like,
I love that kind of stuff. I've always said like Peter Berger's like the good Michael Bay. Michael Bay tries to do that kind of stuff, but he just seems offensive when he does it. For me, there's something about the way Peter Berg does it that I'd buy it a lot easier. You know, I really get into the kind of the feeling behind it and stuff. And I just really enjoyed it. There's one bit during that shootout that you mentioned. I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but there's two terrorists, and one of them gets run over by the other terrorist trying to escape. I'm not sure if that happened that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, who's to say now who ran that terrorist over? Do you know what I mean? Like,
the police reports say that.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? It's like, it might not have totally happened the way they make it out to be, but yeah.
The end of the film, they get kind of give interview time as well. I don't know if this is the cinematic release. I'm not sure whether it had this or whether this is just a the DVD, Blu-ray.
Oh, I don't know. I think it might have done because in Deepwater Horizon at the end they have the real footage, don't they? The actual people and stuff.
Again, if the film was carried on in the same vein as what it started with, the end footage I think might be all right. But I just wasn't getting that either. Just wasn't feeling it. I don't know why. I was like, this just isn't needed for the film.
I think part of why it does feel a bit all over the place at times. The Mark Wahlberg character is an amalgamation of like 5 real people, apparently.
Right. Okay.
That they're just crammed into one, just to make it one central character.
Yeah.
So you can imagine why a lot of it feels a bit. Is involved in everything. You know what I mean? But I always find it funny at the end of these films that when you see the actual person who Mark Wahlberg's meant to be playing, they don't look anything like Mark Wahlberg. You know what I mean?
A few of the other characters kind of look like...
Yeah, kind of similar. Yeah.
But, yeah, maybe Mark Wahlberg didn't.
Cool.
What are you giving that out of 5?
Oh, still a good film. I'd probably say the same again, 3.5 pushing 4.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Still,
Yeah.
Still
I thought you'd go lower from what you were saying, yeah.
It's not a bad rating for a film that you weren't enjoying after the halfway point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. You've just reminded me of a film that I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's quite a recent one with Jake Gyllenhaal. It's about the Boston Manor. Boston Manor, what the hell? The Boston bombing. And it's a true story, I believe, and it's about a particular guy that got his leg blown off, or both legs blown off during the Boston bombing.
Yeah.
And Jake Gyllenhaal plays this character, and rather than like be about the whole bombing and stuff, it's more about him and his recovery from that. It's quite an interesting.
I'm trying to think of the name, and I can't
remember what the film's called.
Yeah. Oh.
But yeah, that was quite interesting. I'm not going to go into details.
Have you watched it or?
I have seen it.
You've seen it, yeah.
Like I say, I'm not going to go into details with it because you just spoke about the Boston bombing in quite detail. But it starts off with that, and then it's his kind of recovery. Is like he goes through all this depression and stuff, and then in the end, he's like running marathons on 2 prosthetic legs. Good film though.
Yeah.
All right. Is it time for the main event?
Were you all done with your films, Inman? Have you got anything?
Yeah, I've not done anything.
You all done?
Have you not done anything, sure?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right. Time for the main event, which this week is Panic Room, as suggested by you, John.
Yeah, more a convenience than anything, really. I saw it was on Netflix and I'd watched it that night, so I thought, we could talk about Panic Room.
Yeah, so it's on Netflix. This one's it's got Kristen.
Stewart, Bella Twilight, she's in it.
Kristen Stewart as a very young teenage daughter of what's
Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster. Who's directed by?
Directed by David Fincher.
David Fincher.
The Fight Club fame, Seven. Gone Girl. Zodiac.
So he's got a lot of good films under his belt.
Yeah, got a lot of calibre.
I've actually not prepared a synopsis. Can you?
Do you want to give it a go?
Give it a go off the top of your head.
Jodie Foster and her young daughter, Bella Twilight, move into a new brownstone in, is it Chicago or New York? Or
is it Manhattan?
Manhattan, yeah, it must be New York, mustn't it? Move into their new brownstone in New York on the same night that Jared Leto, Forrest Whitaker and Dwight Yoakam plan to rob, is it like $20 million from the Panic Room?
$22 million.
Yeah, from the safe of the Panic Room installed in the new house. They weren't planning for Jodie Foster to be there, and so chaos ensues.
Yeah, so essentially they come in, don't they? And like I say, Jodie Foster and Kristen Stewart, is that the one?
Yeah,
Kristen Stewart go into the Panic Room where they want to be, and it's all about them trying to get into the Panic Room.
Yeah. Feels to me like it's a bit of a... I think Fincher might have said this, but it's like his version of like a Hitchcock kind of thriller. You know, like Rope or something like that, where it's a really simple premise. It's they get into the Panic Room and the rest of the film is how do the burglars get them out of the Panic Room and get what they want kind of thing. Yeah.
So, got anything you want to say about it?
Yeah. I mean, can I jump in first if that's okay?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'll ask you guys, what do you think about David Fincher on the whole? I mean, I'm a big fan.
I mean, I didn't know he had that back catalogue of films.
Yeah, I'll just go through them. Like Alien 3 was his first one, which I'm quite a fan of. I quite like it. 7, one of the best, one of the best films ever.
Film, yeah.
The Game from 1997. I think it's okay. Not one of his best ones, but Fight Club. Everyone loves Fight Club, don't they?
Yeah.
I think this was after Fight Club, maybe. Panic Room.
Okay.
Then he did Zodiac, which again,
I think
fantastic film.
Yeah.
After that one, it was this is the one. This is the weird one. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Like, I don't know anyone who likes this film. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I've seen
not
it
seen
years and years ago when it first came out, but
Yeah.
I didn't like rate it at the time.
It's a weird one. That's the one thing in his filmography where you're like, he did that.
It doesn't really fit with the other.
Yeah. Going on from there, Social Network. That was great. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Not seen it, but I've heard it's quite good.
I like
Yeah,
it.
it's good.
Pretty messed up. And Gone Girl.
I thought that was quite a really good film.
Yeah. So he's got a stronger filmography.
Yes, yeah.
And
So-
a million music videos as well.
Yeah, that's right. He was a music director, music
Madonna.
video director at first, wasn't he? Yeah. That's why I think when you watch Alien 3, there's parts of that film that look like a music video. He's just clearly still in that mindset kind of thing. Yeah, but so you guys are fans of him at
I
all?
mean, from that back film catalogue, then yeah, I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of the guy. Yeah.
Seems like a bit of an innovator to me. Like the opening credits in this film. This is the first time where I saw those like shots of New York, the skyline and stuff, and the credits are like just massive letters, like on the side of a building and stuff.
I was going to mention I loved the opening credits. As soon as it started, I was like, yeah, I like this.
Yeah, it's real great style to it. But I think that's like the beginning of this kind of style of credits. I think this film was probably first.
Have you ever seen Fringe?
No.
Exactly the same credits.
Did that come after this or?
Oh yeah, Fringe is like
after this,
Fringe is a TV show 2014,
That's the
13.
Was it? Oh, really?
something like that.
Quite recent then.
J.J. Abrams one.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
And then, well, I was going to say Fringe, and then the Lost title where it zoomed like it's just the basic that one, but no, exactly the same as Fringe. But I really like how it sort of like reflects in the windows and stuff like that. It's like it's part of the city.
Yeah, I like it's just actually there in the location kind of thing. And like going on from that, this is a really random pull, but like there was a game Splinter Cell Double Agent or something in the late 2000s. I remember playing that, and like it gave you like the mission breakdown. You'd be starting the mission, and it blazing the mission thing on the side of a building or something.
Yeah.
And at the time, I remember thinking, "Oh, that's amazing!" But then it's all from Panic Room. I think that this film started that whole style kind of thing that, like you mentioned, pops up in Fringe and other things over the years. Yep.
The took a year to produce.
This film.
No, the
credits,
the titles.
Right.
Oh wow.
'Cause back in 2002, I guess that was a hard thing to do.
Yeah, I presume so.
And like being the first thing to do it, it's sort of like, yeah. Apparently, they took a year to.
That must have been one of the longest things. This film must have taken long to film. Actually, the actual movie side of it.
Well, I've got like bits of trivia later on.
Yeah,
I could like. This was the longest shoot Jodie Foster ever did.
Really?
120 days.
120, like 4 months or something like.
So yeah,
to film this.
I'll get into
shocked.
I'll get into some of like the shooting later because there's a bit of trivia like later on. But yeah, it is quite a long.
Right, I had no idea about that. I mean, with it being a single location film, I just assumed they knocked it out in a weekend or something like that. Right. Going off from that, I imagine some of the length of the time it took to film it. Did you notice that shot early on where the camera's panning from one side of the house to the other?
Yeah.
And it's one massive continuous shot and it goes through like a coffee pot handle and stuff like that. That's all CGI, but that was groundbreaking at the time, like just one continuous shot, but it was CGI. But you can see it now looking at it, but at the time it was kind of like it really worked, you know what I mean? You're like, whoa.
You can see it now, but I was like, it didn't detract from sort of like the how it was done. I absolutely loved how that was done.
Yeah.
And like, those shots like going from, when you first introduced to like the intruders, like you've got the camera of her in bed and then it goes all the way from the top floor down to the bottom floor and it goes through the banisters and stuff like that. I was like, this is great. Like, so like proper cinematic shots. I was like, this is great. I like that.
That's one thing Fincher does. He'll use like technology to his advantage. Again, looking at it now, you can see the joins, can't you? Where like there's that one bit with a coffee pot where the countertop's clearly a video game countertop kind of thing. But again, like it works, doesn't it? As the whole. So yeah. Yep.
There's a bit where on that shot where it's like you see the intruders and they're at the window and it goes into the keyhole. But like the sound with that as well, because you've got all the music, and I think the sound is really good in this. It goes into the keyhole and it goes, and then you hear it go, and then like trying to do the lock and then like the music carries on. I was just like, but I kind of like, I didn't know it was Fincher that directed it before watching it, and then after it I looked it up and I was like, so I think a lot of the shots, like looking back at it, you can then compare it to like some of the shots in the house of Fight Club, where like you got some of the panning round in there and sort of like the how the camera will go between rooms in Fight Club. I think is definitely been sort of evolved into using CGI for Panic Room.
I think there's that one shot in Fight Club where the camera's going from room to room, showing you like what all the Project Mayhem soldiers are doing, and I'm sure that's one big continuous shot like that where this is clearly the next step of what he wants to do with it, kind of thing. Yeah. Just can I ask as well, what do you think about the casting in the film? How do you think? I
mean, was it Forrest Whitaker?
Forrest Whitaker.
I like him. I think he's a great actor.
I like him, but I feel like I think I've said this with Seth Rogen before as well. I think I might mention it on my one man pod that I did. But I think some actors have like an autopilot mode, and I feel like Forrest Whitaker's one of them where in this he's just like the guy who's like, hey, I'm the good guy. I don't do that. I don't do this to hurt people and stuff. And I feel like he does that a lot in a lot of films. He's always the kind of like the good guy, good to go to guy kind of thing. But I think he is good though. He's a likable character kind of thing.
Yeah, I liked his acting and his character in it.
Yeah.
And Jared Leto, I thought he pulled off like that guy quite well.
Yeah, I mean, you don't like him, but you're not meant to, are you?
No, I know.
He's meant to be a bit of an arse, isn't he? Like,
That's what I mean.
So he does a good job at that. Like, yeah.
I thought he did a good job at that. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about Dwight Yoakam as Raoul?
I had no clue who Dwight Yoakam was before before watching this, or I'm not even sure I've seen him in anything since. I probably have, but I was like, I don't really recognise the name or anything like that. But I think he played the role well, and he comes across as sort of like the madman on the edge who can break at any moment. You're kind of going, when's it going to happen?
I think he's great, but like you say, it's weird how he didn't seem to get any other roles. Apparently, he was a last minute standing in this film as well for somebody else.
For the casting, again, it was like all part of the trivia. There's so many
recasts and stuff. You can jump into it now if you want, because have you got the Nicole Kidman thing?
Nicole Kidman was on production for the first, I think it was first about 14 days. Yeah. So maybe that's why like that's an added bit to it. Like the lasers on the door. Apparently they were installed for like Nicole Kidman's height.
Oh right.
And Jodie Foster's a little bit smaller, so whenever she would go through the door, it blinded her. So Nicole Kidman was going to play Meg. She ends up being the voice on the phone call of Meg's ex-husband's new girlfriend.
Oh, right,
so
okay.
She's the voice of that, so she's still in the film.
Right, when she phones him and she's like, put him on the phone, bitch.
Hayden Panettiere was going to be the kid.
Oh, yeah, the cheerleader from Heroes, yeah.
Yeah, so she was rumoured to be the kid.
Why did she get binned? I mean, I believe Nicole Kidman, sprained an ankle or something, didn't she? Something daft like that. That's why she couldn't do it, but I don't know why they binned off the door.
I think there was another reason Nicole Kidman couldn't do it.
Was there?
I can't remember what it was. It conflicted with something else. I don't know.
Okay.
But if the film was going to go on for as long as it did, there was going to be conflict.
They could have just waited and brought her back.
For Burnham, which is Forrest Whitaker's, Denzel Washington was.
Oh right, okay. I can see that, to be honest. Yeah.
Mel Gibson as the ex-husband.
I can see that. I mean, I think the ex-husband is a bit weird when he turns up.
I thought this, like, he didn't seem like... He seemed like 20 years older than her. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, something's going on in this relationship, isn't there?
Yeah, it's like, I thought your husband was coming, not your dad.
So like, Mel Gibson at the time would have been probably a bit younger looking than that, at least. So it might have made more sense.
It just seems like even like not that. I might be totally wrong here. I don't know who the actor is, but when he turns up and he's just sat in that chair, like it's as if like, look, we know you can't act. Just sit there with a gun and just do this.
And I'm sat there going, did you get Jodie Foster? I don't get it. You know what I mean? It didn't make sense to me, but
Yeah.
And how did you meet Kristen Stewart?
Yeah, where's she come from?
And then the last one, I like Jared Leto in this, but I think I might have preferred Adam Goldberg.
Definitely, he would have
been amazing.
He would have fit that character, that kind of. I can't even think of how to describe him. You know, like just after the money into money grabbing, kind of screws family over.
Kind of Adam Goldberg,
Jewish actor. I mean, he's got massive problems in real life, hasn't he? Dazed and Confused. He was one of the kids who gets beat up. Is that right? Gets punched at the show or something.
More recently, he's been in Fargo. First season of Fargo, he's one of like the enforcers. You know, he's the guy that's with the deaf guy.
All right, okay. I think I know what you're about.
So the way he acts in everything, though, I think he just would have been great in this role.
Definitely,
like, it would have been a role for him.
Knowing that, it feels like that role was written for him, kind of thing. Thinking about it,
It's kind of, if you try and imagine that whole film with that whole new cast, it's kind of like, it's quite interesting.
Like a different film entirely. Yeah.
Quite like that. One thing I was going to mention is like the character development of Nicole Kidman. At the start of the film, she seems sort of like really in herself. When she's being shown around the house, she isn't even speaking up. It's the
the estate agents. I want to mention them as well.
So she seems like really just small and sort of like vulnerable.
Yeah.
And as the film goes on, she sort of like starts. I mean, she lit the gas to cause that massive explosion.
Yeah.
It's just like such a transformation of seeing her. But like,
definitely,
I think the key point in that is sort of like when she's on the PA system, she comes across so polite, like just saying. The first thing she says on the PA system is "Excuse me" to the intruders in your home. Like,
I think at one point she actually says over it, she's like, "Get out of my house," and then Christian Stewart's like, "Get out of my fucking house," and so she goes back on and goes, "Get out of my fucking house." So that was quite good.
Yeah, that's good.
I really liked her telling it because the kid is obviously sort of like she's quite calm and cool and collected. It's like when they're in the elevator trying to get away. It's Kristen Stewart that's sort of going, no, you need to press this
push the emergency stop and do this.
So I like how like she's learning off the kid and then...
Yeah. I just want to mention there as well, I know you guys aren't the biggest fans of Kay Stew, but I think she's great, and particularly in this. I thought she was, for a child actor, I thought she was fantastic.
I thought she was really good.
If anything, she's better in this than she is in Twilight.
In the more recent work.
I'll just jump in there as well, though. Like the estate agents who show them around the house, they're dreadful, I think, them too. And did you recognise who the guy was?
I think I did. I'm drawing a blank now.
From Twin Peaks, is the the posh guy who's vying for Lucy's affection against Andy. And do you remember he talks really posh in Twin Peaks? Right. Yeah, that's that actor.
I remember recognising him, but I didn't put my finger on who he was. Like.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him in this film, though. I think he's a bit too like.
Are they supposed to be awful though? Because they are estate agents, and estate agents are just
a bit
like
smarmy and smug kind of thing. Yeah, so maybe they played it perfectly. But can I just mention as well? We mentioned earlier in the show about like a really good tennis scene. I think it was Patriots Day we were talking about. I think there's a couple of them in this, like early on where the three burglars first break in and they think the house is going to be empty, but Jodie Foster wakes up upstairs and they knock that basketball. Is it them who do it? Yeah, they knock the basketball and it bounces down the stairs and they're just like, with every bounce of the ball, and she's like, oh my God. And he's just waiting for it to kick off kind of thing, and then finally she runs across the landing to get to the bedroom.
I just think she had to go up some stairs, didn't she?
Yeah. So I just think that whole section is amazing. Like
I thought it was quite like the whole like a lot of the film, like mainly the first half. Like it was quite. I was like focused. I was like I don't know the word I'm trying to say, but you know what I mean. It was really quite
tense.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Like on the edge of your seat kind of thing.
Are they going to get away? Kind of thing like that. But
if anything, I think they maybe get into the panic room a bit too quickly because like it becomes then less tense. It's more just how are they going to get in? You know what I mean? Like as opposed to they're in any immediate danger kind of thing. I just love the idea of them just running around this house being chased by burglars. Like it
would have been a bit more of a more stories and sort of like they need to get into the panic room. But I mean, they know where the panic room is, so if they don't get in there, then they're going to go straight for the panic room.
Yeah, I suppose. Anyway. So they have to do it, don't they?
I think there is a comparison to a film in like the 50s, I think, where they said it's very similar, but they're not trying to get in the panic room, so it is more like a cat and mouse round the house of burglars and this woman who they find more. She fights back a lot more than they thought she was going to. So yeah, it's could watch that if
but that's what excuse me.
I was tense all the way through. I think there was a couple of parts, like especially when they're watching the cameras and they're having like the confrontation on the stairs, and like the two guys at the bottom having the argument. Forrest Whitaker goes out and he's stood at the top of the stairs, and they're sort of weighing up. Can she get out the door, get her phone, and get back in time?
Yeah.
And this is when it was in complete silence, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's in silence, and it goes into complete slow mo as well. Yeah. Like the whole scene is in slow mo, I think. So like the door opens, she runs out, and sort of like the bit I have issue with is when she's reaching for her phone. I absolutely hate in films when you just see him reaching and you're like, they're getting closer and then they knock it further away, and you're like, you idiot! Like
I was. It bugged me a lot when she went for the phone because like she looked on the cabinet and she looked the wrong way, and then she's looking, she's thinking, oh, where could it possibly be? Like, look the other way. Like she looks under all the mattress and stuff, but like takes a couple of minutes. Like, on where next? Oh, the bed. And that bugged me. And like you say, she goes to reach for it, and then I hate that when like she goes to reach for it, and then the tip of her fingers knocks it away. And it's like,
But then she almost stops, looks up to see if the coast is clear, and then I'm still fine, and then goes back in for it. Like, I thought that should maybe have been quicker because it should have been a quick action. Like, go out, get the phone, get back in, because that door opening, it would make it pretty loud, So they would have heard that. I know they're having an argument or whatever like that, but you would have heard her running across like wooden floors, like
in the middle of the night, when there's no other sound around. Yeah.
So I thought they would have heard that, but they didn't seem to realise until she knocked the lamp over.
Yeah. One thing I will mention about that, I mean, I do agree, it is a bit of like a cliche when people are reaching for stuff and they just can't reach it. But I think that's a deliberate reference. Is it Strangers on a Train, the old Hitchcock film, where there's a bit at the end of that film where one character's like got his hand down a grid and he's trying to reach the set of keys and it's just constantly out of his grasp. It's like, just reach a bit further. I just feel like, would it be like a Hitchcock kind of thing? It might be a deliberate. I'm not checked it or anything. It might be a deliberate reference to that kind of thing.
Well, the reference you made earlier to like the Hitchcock kind of like, you wanted that feel to film. I guess that would be in there. Yeah, be in there for that. So.
Can I just mention as well, one little thing I found funny? Throughout the whole film, like they're in the panic room and the burglars are in the house, and the burglars are conversing with them by writing on paper and holding signs up to the cameras. Then they figure out like 2/3 of the way through the film there's a PA system
in the bedroom.
They're like, why the hell have we been using this?
Isn't that after they switch places? They're in the panic room and she's outside. She starts talking to him, doesn't she?
Yeah. I'm like, why the hell did we use that? Like,
when she starts like gets a sledgehammer or something and starts knocking the cameras down, and he says again like, why didn't we think of that?
That's great.
But like, I mean, halfway through that, I did think like the cliche or quote thick as thieves comes to mind. Like,
exactly.
Because the three of them, like they're totally different characters, the three of them. So it's weird that they're teamed up. I mean, Forrest Whitaker doesn't even know he's going to be teamed up with Raoul.
Yeah, he just turns out of nowhere.
He turns up like with Junior, and he's like, who the fuck's this guy? And but like, because Forrest Whitaker, he designs like the panic rooms and stuff like that as his job. That's why they've got him on board. He's the smart one. He's kind of like he's the brains of the operation, I suppose. And then like the other two are just the one's there because he knows that's where the money is. Yeah, and then the other one is there as like the hitman,
kind of loose cannon,
I thought like that setup of characters. It's like it's quite good. They're all there for a reason, but you just would never match these people together.
Yeah. Can I just jump ahead to a scene? Actually, well, I just mentioned you mentioned the gas canister scene where they're trying to gas them out the panic room, and she ignites the canister. But I love the bit where, again, talking about how thick they are. like Forrest Whitaker and Raoul know that there's something not right about this, and they start backing away from the wall. But Jared Leto's trying to get close, going, "What's she doing in there?" Like, trying to listen through the wall, and it all just blows up literally in his face. Like, thought that was quite good.
Sets like his entire side on fire, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah. But I'm just jumping ahead a bit here. But what did you guys think of the death of Jared Leto? Were you taken aback by it, or?
I mean, I guess you can expect Raoul to do. He seemed that kind of character, but
Yeah.
it was a bit shocking at the time. I was like, oh, bloody hell.
Yeah. I remember the first time I watched it, I was just like, wow, that changes things. It's one of them things where you're watching a film and you're at this level and it's just plod along, then suddenly it jumps up to here, it escalates all of a sudden.
Yeah, because it goes from this like robbery where like they didn't want to hurt anyone, they just kind of wanted to get in, get the money and get out.
Yeah.
And then he just starts like, well, now there's murder involved. Okay.
Yeah. It just really does make things escalate all of a sudden kind of thing, yeah. Eamon, have you got anything else there?
I just wanted to jump back to what you were saying earlier about sort of how they got into the panic room, like quite early in the film. I think when that happened, I was kind of going similar kind of essence as Phone Booth. That it was always going to be one location. It's called Panic Room. It's called Phone Booth. Like it's going to be that one location. I felt like I was interested to see from there how this is going to pan out, like how this is going to be shot and everything like that between the panic room and the rest of the house and stuff like that. I thought like it's be quite interesting, and I was kind of like comparing it to Phone Booth a little bit with stuff like that. Interesting that Forrest Whitaker is the guy outside of the situation both times.
Playing a character not a million miles away from his one in this one. Like just a good guy in the wrong place at the wrong time kind of thing. But on the Phone Booth thing, I think that's why I thought this film was so quickly shot. Because wasn't Phone Booth shot in like in a record time or something like that? Would it be like a single location thing? I just assumed this would have been the same, but obviously not. Like Fincher's a bit of a perfectionist.
I just want to mention just the ending. Like, I don't know if I blinked, but do you know when Forrest Whitaker like gets told to get down? I don't know if I blinked, but why the hell did he have the bonds in his hand? He could have kept them in his pocket. He just had them in his hand and let go. I'm just like,
I think he's just like, I've blown it. He won't get the money, will he? You know what I mean? If he gets arrested, so it's just like, let it all go kind of thing. Just symbolism,
I didn't get that, to be honest. But
I mean, it's not as if they're like burnt or anything, is it? They're just blown up in the sky. Someone will get them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, the police are going, yeah, hang on, you just dropped something. We should maybe gather that as evidence. Yeah,
but
it didn't seem like anyone was rushing, like
to collect it. Yeah. Just in terms of the ending, I feel like there's maybe like one too many in terms of like a juggling act. There's one too many balls in the air by the end. I think the husband showing up was just a bit of a misstep. I don't think it really totally needed that because he just gets sat in a chair, handed a gun, and he can't even shoot it straight anyway. You know what I mean? So it just feels like one too many elements for me by the end of it. A bit too convoluted. But I love the whole thing where when they finally get in the panic room and Dwight Yoakam's hand gets trapped in the door and stuff. Yeah. Ooh, that looks and sounds quite painful.
like you were saying, like that character was like that you didn't know what he was going to do right up until that point, and he's just kind of been made inert. He's just so in pain that he's not even the same character anymore.
I think they had plans to shoot that scene in more graphic detail, so you'd see the fingers fall off and over, because when he comes out of the panic room, you see him like pick his finger up. Because you're still going to
stick those on later.
But I think they decided not to do that.
Yeah,
for obvious reasons.
And just one thing with like, I understand why they do it, but the conceit of Kristen Stewart, was she diabetic?
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
That to me, it just feels a bit too. I wish they'd have found maybe a better reason for like, because that's the whole reason when Jodie Foster gets out, why she can't just get the police involved, because she knows her daughter's in there and she'll die from a diabetic. What do you call that?
Diabetes.
She goes into a coma.
diabetic coma.
So that's why when the police turn up, which again, it should be a great scene, but it doesn't totally work for me, where the police are like, if you're in trouble, blink. And she's like, oh, I'm fine.
See, I thought that, like, why didn't she blink then? I mean, because I guess, though, if she did at that point and they came back then instantly.
The daughter's still in the panic
she's still
room.
In there, but like they seemed to realise something was wrong and come back anyway. So
I was going to say, like, what was the reason for them turning up? They still felt something was suspicious, so they called in the SWAT team. Because
I was thinking that they turned up at the end anyway.
They were fully like outfitted, unless
Maybe that gunshot.
The only thing I was thinking is a gunshot early enough. Did a neighbour hear that, and then the SWAT team's called in? But I don't know, whether the timings for that would be
line up kind of thing. Yeah.
That was Jared Leto dead before the police showed up.
Yeah.
Oh, he was dead for quite a while. Actually.
Yeah, but halfway through the film,
so like that gunshot, like maybe that was what it was. Like there's like, well, I definitely heard.
But the police come to the door after
that gunshot. Yeah.
After that happened, so he's dead in the kitchen as the police are at the door. So if someone did ring up the police, then they would have.
Apparently the neighbour rang up and complained about a lot of noise because they were shouting, obviously, and the flashlight thing, which obviously he didn't know Morse code. But.
Yeah, I love that. Like, I feel like that's the kind of thing I'd do. Like if I saw like Morse code flashed in my window, I'd be like, "Oh, shut the curtains, back to bed."
I mean, I thought that, but then like it turns out they actually called the police.
Was it him who did it? Yeah,
well, I assume so.
Yeah,
because. Unless there was another person around that square or something that was like, but yeah, what's all that noise out my window?
Yeah, and there's a flashing light coming in.
That's all them gunshots.
And who else was it? Oh, it was the husband called the police as well, didn't he? Before he came.
That's it. Yeah,
that's why they turned up in it.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
There you go. Problem solved.
But luckily, through no fault of his, they turned up at just the right moment, because if that police SWAT team had turned up a bit earlier and the daughter's still in the panic room, they'd have been screwed, wouldn't they? So yeah, that lined up quite well for them. Yep, but I think I'm pretty much out, to be honest with you guys, on Panic Room. Have you got anything more, Rinman?
Did you want to talk about the sound?
I just wanted to talk about the music, because I'm a particularly big fan of the composer, for obvious reasons.
Yep.
It's Howard Shaw, the same composer he composed Lord of the Rings trilogy, as well as many other films. I think he's done a lot of this director's films.
Yeah, well, I don't know what happened, but David Fincher, I believe, worked with him up until this point. I'm sure he did like 7. I don't think he did Alien 3, that was Elliot Goldenthal, I think. But I'm sure he might have done The Game as well. But he did like Silence of the Lambs as well from 1990, Howard Shaw. That's an amazing soundtrack as well. But I don't know why Fincher, after this film, started using like Trent Reznor from the Nine Inch Nails and stuff. I don't know why he made that switch, but yeah. But he's amazing.
Is that from his days of being a music?
You know what?
Video director.
That's probably it, isn't it? He might have done a few Nine Inch Nails videos.
I think he might have. I was looking through his IMDb, and there's a whole host of. I mean, he worked with some top artists like for the music videos. I think 9 Inch Nails were in there actually.
Yeah. I'm not sure about Zodiac, but Trent Reznor did Social Network, Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, and Gone Girl, and they're all great soundtracks as well. But I always find it interesting when a director just changes like composer, halfway through the career kind of thing.
I'm a fan of Howard Shaw though. He's done some great soundtracks, and I quite liked it on this one as well. Remember on the opening credits in particular, I'm like, as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, well, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, some of the themes from Lord of the Rings are amazing, aren't they? Definitely that kind of composer who can create a theme. I mean, and stuff.
You could almost hear the similarities between, like, especially like I say in the intro with the big writing on the side of buildings. Yeah. Like you could kind of hear the similarities between that and Lord of the Rings. Like,
like the kind of ominous themes. Like,
I thought it was quite interesting. But just wanted to mention it.
There were times where there's no music at all. And I think that just builds it. It was used really well, sort of like cutting the music out. But that's also that'll also be Howard Shaw being this bit doesn't need music and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think that's equally as important.
Definitely. Knowing when to music and when not to music. Excuse me.
Fantastic. Are we all done with Panic Room?
I'm all done.
Do you want little bits of trivia?
Yeah, go for it.
Let's start off. When the first night they're in there, she rings up takeaway for a pizza.
Yeah.
The number she reads out, if you add Manhattan's code to it, which is 212, I think it was on the trivia, that is the real phone number for that pizza shop.
Ah, right, okay.
So when they ring up, I think they say Patsy's Pizza or something like that. That is.
Fincher must be a fan then. I like the way we've come back to New York pizza again after the Iron Man mention. I hope they weren't folding it when they.
you mentioned she was diabetic, the kid.
Yeah.
She's drinking full fat Coke at the start.
That'll be why. That's what's done it.
Yeah. Apparently, Kristen Stewart grew 3 inches during production.
Because it took so long.
So it took a while. I mean, still over 120 days, 3 inches is some good going.
It's like a third of a year into it, yeah.
But apparently she was quite a bit smaller than Jodie Foster at the start of production and was taller than her.
Really?
By the end of it.
That's recognisable.
What we watch it and look out for that. Yeah.
All the indoor scenes were shot in sequence. So in the chronological order of the film.
Right, well, that's unusual. Again, that probably is why it took so long. If the shooting schedule's in order, kind of thing, it doesn't make much logical sense.
Around the house and everything like that. His film before this, I think it was Fight Club.
Yeah,
and basically that was 150 locations. So basically, Fincher wanted to. He was like, I'll just do something easy with one location, and it's like
it's gone from like one extreme to the other kind of thing.
But it turned into like a massive toil to make the film. Like that's why it took 120 days. Everyone was exhausted and everything like that. Couldn't get the lighting in the house right. Loads of a whole host of problems and stuff like that with production, just not being quite right at how he wanted it. And it ended up being going from this. One location will be easy to being. Jesus, this is turning into like an exhausting.
I'm chucking this in a bit late here, but I'm sure as well. Like he fired his first director of photography and got somebody else to do it or something. I can't remember who it was, but
that was another part.
Another part of the trouble production.
Two more. In the openings for where you got all the titles and stuff like that, you can see the World Trade Centers in the background. Right. Even though the film was released in 2002.
Yeah.
So they're still there. And the last one, you know the scene where she slides the medibag into the panic room?
Yeah.
How many takes do you think that took?
I'm going to say like 58. Knowing the production rules.
I know, I can't really say a small number at this point. So I'm going to go about 42.
103.
And that's why the 30 odd, 120 odd days went. They were just
20 odd days doing that. I can just imagine Jodie Foster throwing it across it. That one didn't reach. We'll have to hit the door frame.
She nails it. And it's like it didn't land the way I wanted it to face. Do it again.
It didn't land in the 5 square inches. That's
amazing.
No, 103 takes.
103 takes for that shot. I mean, that's just mental.
I bet you got all the other actors waiting there going, come on.
Yeah.
You booked me for today. Like,
that's why Nicole Kidman was like, I've got another film. That's
amazing. All right. Are we done with Panic Room?
Yep.
Fantastic. Should we do some social
ratings?
Oh, God, we want to rate it first, don't we?
Yep.
Go on then.
Should I go first? Yeah. I want to go like a 4.5 on this, but I'm gonna stick with a really heavy 4 out of 5, just because Fincher's done so many other great films. Like Zodiac's a 5-star film. Seven is a 5-star film. I'm rating it against them more than anything really. So I'll go 4 out of 5 because it's not for me in that bracket, but it is still. Not even as a film in its own right, would you not bump it up? I just think there's a couple of elements where it could have been a bit better. Like I said, I prefer Fight Club to this. I prefer Zodiac, Social Network. 7. So yeah, I'm going to go with a heavy 4. Yep.
Heavy 4?
Heavy 4 out of 5.
Oh, I thought you were at 4.5.
I was going to go 4.5, but compared to his other stuff, I'll bump it down to a 4.
I think I'll go in for 4.5.
Yep.
I'm going to give it that extra half. It was a really good film, really well shot. I really loved the cinematic, even though it is CGI, sort of really enjoyed that. Just grinning when I was watching those shots. Just love them. Acting's really good at it. Cast's really good at it. Liked it all the way through and sort of kept me tense. If I'm going off your sort of what minute do you grab the phone rating? Yeah, it wasn't there, so this was kind of Yeah, really enjoyed it. I'd give it 4.5. I was teetering 4, but I was like, nah, that's a 4.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't grab my phone myself, but like I'm not inclined to go as high as 4.5.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna go with John's rating of 4 myself. Like you say, I felt really tense, but about halfway through, I felt like that tenseness kind of went away, and I was just kind of. I wasn't bored or anything. I didn't think it was as tense as the first half. So
Yeah, I probably agree with that.
yeah, but
Yeah.
But like I like to say, I love the actors, I love the soundtrack. Yeah, but 4 out of 5 for me.
And just in terms of like being a rewatchable film, it's one of them films that like every couple of years I'll just go back to kind of thing. And you know,
This is the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
It's the first view.
It's my first view.
I feel like I'd want to watch it again. Definitely.
can do a catch-up pod in a couple of years. Rewatch it, yep.
See if your ratings go down or up or anything.
Yep.
Awesome. That's the end of the show for this week. Been a good one.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Yep.
Should we give some Twitters?
Yeah, burn through the social media.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll give the main one out, which is at DST Podcast on Twitter.
Yep.
We're on Instagram, Facebook, just search us.
Instagram's the same, DST Podcast.
I think it's something like that on Facebook, but you can just search in the search
search
bar.
on Facebook.
Don't spoil the ending, it'll come up.
Yep.
I am found at DST Nick on Twitter.
Yep, I'm at Taylor1980. And you can email as well at don'tspoiltheending@gmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you, so yeah, get in touch.
I am Rubik's Football on Twitter. Yeah, we've experienced like a lot of growth through not doing podcasts, which is strange.
We have 6 weeks off, and we're on the iTunes front page.
Yeah, iTunes front page, going up the charts. So
Yeah,
thanks for all the listens, and hopefully we'll get some feedback going to the email account. And
definitely.
Yeah, I don't want to say desperate, but we'd absolutely love to hear from someone. Like the day we hear, like we have an email. I think that'll be a happy day. Like even if it's bad feedback,
we've not heard from anyone. So if you want to email in, you will be the first person.
Yeah, yeah. The first email will get a prize
of being read out on the podcast.
But like, yeah, I think like. Even if it's like negative feedback, I feel like we'd be happy with it.
Yeah,
So
we got an email.
I'd be happy with it. So yeah, come on, email in.
Suggestions for films, whatever.
Oh yeah, we'd
definitely.
love some suggestions for films because we always just come up with them ourselves, don't we?
I'd be well up for that. Like if people want to write in and give us an idea of what to do, we will definitely do that.
Definitely, yeah.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, fantastic.
Can I just do a bit of housekeeping as well? Just mention that I'm doing my one-man pod at some point this weekend. So hopefully that'll be up by the time you're listening to this anyway. But again, it's probably got to be garbage, so give that a listen. I'd love to hear your feedback.
What do you mean again?
For that one. But yeah, I'd love to hear your feedback, so please, get in touch. Let us know how bad that one is.
Yeah, we're planning on like having some other, I want to say spin-off shows coming out in the coming months, haven't we? So we'll have this main one, and then we'll have certain other ones like you say, namely your solo one where you're going to do films of what's in the cinema. Yeah,
current films, and we're on about doing a Marvel one with Heggy. So
I'm toying with the idea of doing a solo one myself, but I'm not sure if I'm excited enough on my own. So I'll play around with that idea and see what I come up with.
Yep.
Exciting times for DST podcast.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I reckon we should end it there.
Yep.
It's been a good one, as I've said before. Thanks very much for listening.
Yep, cheers guys, thank you. I forgot I was on the podcast then. I was just like I was just like nodding at Nick then. Yeah, thank you.
That's how we end all conversations.
I genuinely forgot then we were doing a podcast.
Nick's gone.
I've just got this image in my head of just me talking to John going, yeah, John, thanks very much for listening.
Yep, no worries.
Oh my god, we made it to the end and everything. Right. Oh god, I need to stop there.
Yeah, so that's a good way to end anyway. That was and if you want more of this, tune in next week.
Yeah, I think that's a good time. See you next week.
Yep, cheers guys.
Thanks very much, guys. Bye.
Cheers, bye.
Oh god.